What's up, everybody? Welcome to this episode of Show and Tell After Dark, where we talk about all things art, all things music, all things Boston. But we got a little bit something different today. Today's episode is about financial literacy and generational wealth. Yes. And to my left, I got my girl Sabri. What's up, Sabri?
What's up, my people?
How are you?
I'm good today. I love seeing you hosting and living in vibrance, and
Thank you.
I'm good. I'm glad to be here.
Good. I'm glad. And to the left of Sabri, we have Miss Ariel. What's up, Ariel?
Not much, y'all. I'm really happy to be here. I watch you
Period.
guys on Instagram, like religiously. I feel
You had
really
to come be a part of it, right?
I really did. I
to.
really did. I reached out.
I'm happy you're here. I'm happy you made it.
Thank you. Thank you
Okay,
for
so
having me.
I have questions, but I want to start with where my new friends, where my new friend Ariel works. Ariel, where do you work?
So I'm a real estate agent with Keller Williams Cambridge.
I
sell houses, y'all.
Wow. Okay. And Sabri, where do you work?
So you want my 9 to 5 or like my entrepreneurship?
9 to 5 or both.
So my 9 to 5, I work as an impact investment associates,
Mhm.
investing in small businesses and nonprofits,
Mhm.
doing social good, actual good.
Mm-hmm.
And entrepreneurship wise, I run a nonprofit doing financial capabilities for youth, and I run a social venture helping other social entrepreneurs and nonprofits get their papers right so that they know how to access capital.
You helped us get our papers right.
I helped her get her papers right.
She did, honey.
She do way more than I do, y'all.
Perspective.
Yeah, you do. You do a lot. But real estate agents, they do a lot.
Like I said, she do way more than I do, y'all.
All right, let's get into it, y'all. My first question is, what are some good financial habits your family has passed down to you? If any.
None.
Really?
No lie. None.
Seriously?
Yeah. So like when I was growing up, like the only time we talked about money was when we was talking about how we don't have it. No lie. I'm probably like the first generation of like financial consciousness. My mom was a single mom of 3 kids, and that don't really give you much wiggle room. She probably could have done better had she known better. But she didn't.
Right.
Like you only have what you know, and she
Right.
just didn't. But I will say that definitely paved the way for me to be who I am today and like care so much about financial literacy and making sure that other people have access to it.
Sabri, what about you?
I resonate with that. My family didn't really have that financial consciousness or good
Mhm.
habits to pass on. I could say, hustling is definitely one that was passed on. Like we,
Mm-hmm.
saw my
I could
mom
hustle.
hustle, saw my dad hustle.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't have assets to pass down or really manage. My mom did pass down her Section 8 though.
Yo, fact.
Bye.
Same. Like I don't got it, but it's definitely in the family.
Security.
Wow. That is interesting. Okay, so when did you guys first become aware of just like a money mindset or money consciousness?
Birth.
Mm-hmm.
My mom told me this funny story that basically like I was like 4 years old and I like let her know that if you don't step on heads, you're gonna get stepped on. And she was like, "You've been
As a
talking-
4-year-old?
Yes." And she was like, "I wanted to be a doctor my whole life," and people
Mhm.
would be like, "Oh my God, you want to save people?" And I was like, "No, they rich.
Period. I want
she
that
was like,
check.
I've always been like, I wouldn't say money conscious
Mhm.
in the sense that like I did the right thing with it, but
Yeah.
I always understood that like financial freedom was the way out."
Right.
That's dope. That's really dope. I think I can only share a story of when I knew, and it's really going to other schools around different neighborhoods that weren't Boston.
Yeah.
Like I was in this program called Stepping Stone, and they took us to different schools and exposed us to different neighborhoods. We went on a college tour in like suburbia of New York, and just
Wow.
seeing those schools, like they have an own parking lot for the students. They have
No.
actual cafeterias with different options of food providers. And coming back to the hood, coming to BPS,
Yeah.
coming home, it was like a whole different world.
Yeah.
And not understanding where that injustice came from until honestly, I left college
Mhm.
because I had to teach myself taxes. I had to teach myself all this stuff, and it was
Mhm.
like most of my classmates already knew all this. So why is it so different here than over there? And that's kind of where I got that consciousness, is that self reflection.
Mhm. Mm. It's just crazy.
You know,
So, did you grow up in Boston, Aria?
I didn't.
Where'd you grow up?
So I would say I grew up in Somerville, but I moved 30 times in 18 years. So before I turned 18, I had moved 30 times. Yeah.
In
So-
Massachusetts?
no.
Okay.
I started in South Carolina
Mm-hmm.
and then moved like 5 or 6 times out there and then was here and moved the rest, like the other 24 times in Massachusetts. So I would probably say that probably added to my financial consciousness as well,
Yeah.
because I was like constantly being like picked up and dropped off into other communities.
Yep.
And like, so it'd be like, okay, nobody got money, so we good.
Right.
And then I'd move and then I'd be like, damn, everybody got money.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It exposes
Like-
you to different things.
Yeah.
And it sharpens your. I always say that humans are the most adaptable. Like, we're the most adaptable machines on the face of the earth. And the adaptability sharpens you, and it opens you up to different experiences and different people, and just a different life. Because how could you be the person that you are today if you stayed in South Carolina?
Yeah, I
You know?
couldn't have.
Right.
And my mom, like it wasn't a goal to move that many times.
Yeah.
But I don't regret it. I'll
Yeah.
tell you that. Like,
I
it
feel
definitely
you.
wasn't the goal, but I wouldn't take it back.
Mhm.
Like, I think that a lot of my like conscious ways and knowing the things I know, especially about financial literacy and like being able to go to different people's homes and like having friends that like own like multi-million-dollar houses,
Yeah.
and then like having friends that like literally like were in like Roosevelt Towers. Like,
Right.
it was like it just worked out. Like, I had been able to like come in and out of so many different aspects of life, and
Mhm.
I definitely wouldn't be the person I am today without that.
definitely feel that because, you know, I say I did not know I was broke when I was growing up.
Right.
Like, it was only until I was exposed
Mm.
to the other end of where I was.
Ooh.
But I did not know I was broke once I was always in my environment.
How
until I
how did that
left.
make you feel? Like, whenever you, because I was just telling somebody earlier, I was like, because I used to work in the Prudential, and they have a and I would see like literally 13-year-old girls with $20,000 rings and $50,000 watches. And growing up, you know, you'd watch The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, and old girl lived in a hotel, you know. And the clients that I worked with, they would just come from the Avalon with their pajamas on, scan the mall, and you know, that was their life, you know, like that was their life. So how did it make you feel whenever you saw that, felt that, seen that?
When I was younger, it definitely, like, I grew resentment. Like,
Yeah.
I literally was like, I hate rich people. But like, I didn't understand why I hated rich people until I realized the economic system of capitalism. And it's like, there's a lot of people saying, you know, post capitalism, but like, we haven't even played a fair game.
Yeah.
And it really just grew resentment until I really learning about policy, really learning about people making it out and finding a way. And it's more than just work hard.
Right.
That's too easy. That's way too easy. But it definitely grew resentment. Like, I can remember that blatantly.
When you grow up, like, was it one of those things where working hard equals money?
Yeah, it was work hard, keep your head down, climb the ladder.
Ooh. And that is so outdated.
So for me, I feel like I had a different perspective. Like, working hard and keeping your head down and climbing the ladder, I saw it,
Yeah.
but it didn't move fast enough for me.
Period.
Like, when I was like younger, like, I would see that there were people who like did exactly that. They worked really hard, they kept their head down, and they climbed the ladder. And I'm like, that ladder is giving you 25 cents an hour, homie. I can't do it.
Period.
Like, I quit. Thank you for all those skills you just taught me.
Right,
for the
right,
past
right.
6 months. I'm off to my next
Right.
gig. And I chose that route because, like, you know what they say about Boston or Massachusetts, but more so Boston. Y'all know deeper than I do that it's like you need 2 jobs and a little bit of fraud. And it's like,
I never heard that before.
oh yeah, in Boston. Like, I feel like it's super important that y'all give yourself a pat on the back because it's like, your economic backgrounds and like what y'all are battling is way deeper than anybody else in this country. Like Boston currently has the highest, I think second highest housing market in the country after San Francisco, meaning that like y'all are really out here doing it if you're surviving here still, versus like where I come from in South Carolina. Like, yeah, there are rich people, but they don't touch the rich in Boston.
Right.
And there are poor people that might be a little bit poorer than us on paper. But in reality, it's like they don't need to work 2 jobs to be happy. And they
down in South Carolina?
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
they
it's
don't.
just not necessary.
Right.
Like, it's like you can work one job.
Right.
You can work one job and like you might not be rich. You might not ever end up like in the White House.
Right.
But you got time to do with what you wish on the weekends. Like,
right.
Who got a weekend out here? Like, not us.
I was just talking before I got here. I stopped by the store and the guy was saying that he was young too. He said he had worked 72 hours this week, and his boss had asked him to work another day. But like what? Like,
shit makes me scoff.
No, it like.
Can we swear here?
Yeah.
What the fuck, bro? Like on some real shit. Like what?
How? Because I was like, sir, like, and he was younger than me. I was just shocked. I'm like, you need rest. And I tell Shane that all the time. I'm like, you need to rest. Like whenever you sleep, that's your body detoxing all the food, all the light, all the vibrations that you felt that day. And even and if you've overconsumed, which a lot of us do, you've been overstimulated for however long between the time that you get rest and the last time that you got rest. Sometimes that rest is not enough, and sometimes, and most of the time, especially this day and age, working harder does not equate to money at all.
It does not.
And I feel like it kind of goes back to, the first question, which was the financial habits that have been passed down to you,
Yeah, so I'm going to just let everybody know right now, if you have a savings account that you just put in every dollar you've ever made in, like the appreciation on that, when you get to 100 bands, you probably get like 5 cents back. You just put money in an account to let your bank use it and pay you nothing. But remember, when your bank account get overdrawn, that $5, they charging you $35.
Period.
So like, yeah, invest. I'm not going to tell you what to invest in because I'm not a financial advisor, but I will let you know
Disclaimer.
Disclaimer. Like, don't.
This is for entertainment and informational purposes only.
So I was reading something on Quora, and I cannot remember the question verbatim, but it was basically asking, oh my God. It was basically asking, in order to like get rich or to have money, I can't even remember. I ain't even gonna embarrass myself like that. But I will find it and we'll talk about it off camera. But Sabri, you are working with different schools and you have your nonprofit, and I'm sure that you see like a lot of things, especially since you're from Boston, and this is basically your community. What are the main financial issues that you feel like plague the community?
There's so many, and kind of like to your point, like Boston has a rich history, and there's so many things in place. I think one of the biggest ones that everyone can agree on is housing insecurity, affordable housing.
Oh my gosh.
Like myself, I wanted to buy a house like in November, they went through the pre-approval, and even though I feel like I'm not struggling, I'm pretty comfortable right now. I could go a lot further.
Yeah.
But I couldn't even do that. And I think housing security is a big thing.
Yeah.
That, and also just career advancement for people of color. We're a big tech hub, educational hub, life sciences hub, and there's just not enough gateways for young people to really get in those industries. I think those would be like the top 2 that come to my mind.
So the top 2, sum it up.
So housing insecurity, affordable housing, and advancement to careers, sustainable careers at that. $15 an hour minimum wage.
Not enough.
With inflation and
It's
how
not
long we've been fighting
enough.
for the
It's not
living
enough.
wage in Massachusetts with one person, according to MIT, is $22 right now.
That's not enough, y'all.
It's not enough.
So,
Ariel, from a real estate perspective, how do you feel like the main financial issues what do you feel like the main financial issues that plague the communities?
Honestly, I think one of the biggest financial issues that plagues the community is lack of knowledge as far as like real estate goes, because there are programs out the ying.
It sure is, girl.
But the thing is that like nobody's gonna call you and let you know. I'm gonna
Right?
call you and let you know. I'm gonna call you and let you know.
Period.
So many people aren't gonna call you and let you know.
They're not.
This is a predominantly white field. This is predominantly, and like, you know, like white people are not the only community that make sure that their community advances. Like almost every other community in the world looks out for themselves first, and it's just a matter of having people in those places that they can look out for their people as well. I specifically chose real estate so that I could bring financial literacy and financial freedom to the Black community. That's the number one reason I chose to go into this field. I have known since a young age, and I feel like so many people don't know that real estate is how 98% of millionaires became millionaires.
Ooh, 98?
Yeah.
One more time for the people in the back.
Real estate is how 98% of millionaires became millionaires.
Ooh!
It is one of the easiest. No, scratch that. It's not easy, but it's one of the most foolproof ways to make sure that you go forward and not backwards financially.
Foolproof.
Yeah.
So that means you kind of can't really fuck it up.
You can fuck it up. You definitely can. But as far as like if you do it correctly, like so stocks, right? Let's take stocks for example. That's a way that a lot of people try to come up in the world.
Yeah.
You're gambling with chance so
Right,
much
right,
more
right.
with stocks. Like you
Right.
have a way bigger chance of that not working out versus like the return on real estate is almost always guaranteed, except for in circumstances with like the pandemic or you know, like you bought a house and didn't do your due diligence and you found out the person you bought it from didn't actually
had
own
a tax
it.
lien or something like that.
Even that though, you can fix that. Like there's so many things that you can find a way around in real estate versus like you invest in the S&P 500 and it goes, it's gone.
Right.
Like real estate is the way that most millionaires become millionaires because the price of land is only going up.
Ooh.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like the price of land is only going up. We only have
They ain't making no more land.
Exactly, Cricket. They ain't making no more land. So it's like with every day that they develop a new area of the world, the ones that already exist are worth a little bit more. And so like in my opinion, the number one way for like our community to like make it to the next level, and even like the idea is not to make it to the next level for you, it's to make it to the next level for your children and the generation after that. To like continuously pass that down.
That's
so
right.
Real estate will, if you do it correctly, it will do that for you. Like you can leave your kids something that's worth something.
Right, that's
it's
worth
just a
something.
That's worth something, exactly. Like no GoFundMes for funerals.
Okay.
Like, you know, like it's just a matter of having the information and the knowledge to get there. And I feel like that's one of the biggest issues is that like that knowledge isn't passed down to us. And not only is it not passed down to us, but in a lot of scenarios, it's intentionally kept to the left.
That's right.
Like making sure like who would ever want, we geniuses, in case anybody was wondering, who would ever want us to know like we've made it this far despite. So, you know, if you go to South Carolina, like they'll tell you a lot of times that they find Boston to be more racist than their state ever is. And that's the problem. It's that specifically. It's racism comes in a very different form.
Completely different.
Like there, don't walk into the trailer park that's all white people with the Confederate flag waving because you're gonna hear some shit, right? Absolutely. But as far as like here, it's like we're gonna pass up that perfectly good black man for the promotion 7 times and put a white man in the position instead. Like, and that is like closeted racism, and I prefer my racists out in the open,
in my face,
letting me know how they feel about me. You know, and Boston like struggles with that badly. Like we don't want to talk. People don't want to talk about it. They want to pretend like it's not. There are baseball players who literally have in their contracts never to be traded to the Red Sox due to racism. Like, that says something.
I remember one time when I was at work, it was like getting ready to close, and it was this lady who owned a hedge, who was like the head of a hedge fund in the Prudential, and she was coming to get her nails done. And I asked her, I was like, so how do you recommend somebody like me to get into stocks and bonds? And she was like, you should go over to Ameritrade across the street and talk to them. She didn't want to give me any information. She didn't want to. She
prosper, girl.
She did. Period. She didn't want me to prosper. Period. And I didn't realize the racism until the closeted racism until I started working with wealthy white women in the Prudential Center. Because other than that, I was either, when I moved here, I was in Quincy. At the time, my boyfriend was white. It was kind of, and I was around, I didn't have anybody. It was basically like his white friends that, they were okay. They were nice. But once I got over to the 02118 area code, it was a completely different experience. And I was like, this is what they're talking about. Mm-hmm. It stings because it's not that you want to be a part of their circle or have anything that they have. You just want the knowledge. You want to know what they know so that you can put different you can apply those tools. You can and apply that knowledge to do whatever it is you feel like will help you to reach that next level. But closeted racism here it's a thing. It is a thing. It's crazy. Okay, so Ariel, to sum it up for you, your first answer that plagued the communities here today was
lack of knowledge.
Lack of knowledge.
And then my second answer is being kept out of positions in which could help us build.
What is something that, because you were talking about resources and information and knowledge, what is something that every person maybe wanting to buy a house or going into real estate should know that they don't know, that if they knew, it would blow their shit wide open?
You could buy a house with 580 credit score, y'all. A 580. People are out here like, I need a 700. You need a 700 to rent. You need a 580 to get into a house.
Woo! You need a 700 to what?
Rent.
Woo!
You need a 580 to get into a house. Number two, we could just drop gems. Number two, there is a program called the NACA program.
NACA, N-A-C-A?
Yes, N-A-C-A. And the NACA program allows you to buy a home, 1, 2, 3, or 4 unit with $0 down, 0 closing costs. The only thing that they really ask of you is that you clean your credit up. Again, we in the 580 range, 580 to like 620, I think, with the NACA. And then in that, you put something in savings every month for a year, the same amount every month for a year. You got to go through a credit counseling scenario. They have steps, but at the end of the day, the NACA program allows you to have not a dollar and to buy a home in up to 4 units. That's the part that people really need to stress. I feel like I really need to stress as far as like building generational wealth. Like a 1-family house is not going to do it for you.
Right.
You need to take the L of living in an apartment that you own and allowing other people to help you pay your mortgage.
Period. OPM, baby. Other people's money.
The Burr method. Buy, rent, renovate, refinance. Buy a home. If you have 20% down, you have 20% down. If you don't, there's FHA's, First Time Home Buyers Association, that will allow you to put as low as 3.5% down. Renovate that home. Live in 1 unit. Renovate the unit you're in. Move to the next unit. Renovate that unit and continuously cycle your tenants. Refinance. After you have renovated your home, get an appraisal. See what your house is now worth compared to what it was when you bought it. Usually you coming up $100,000 in equity. A paint job that cost you $1,000 in supplies will bring you up $20,000 in equity. When you refinance, take what you'll have is equity to play with at the top of your loan. That money belongs to you because when you got the loan, the house was worth X amount of dollars. The house technically still belongs to the bank.
Right.
The bank don't own that extra money.
Right.
That's not theirs. So let's say you have $100,000 in equity. Oh, that's another house. Pull that out and go buy you another one. Do it again.
And I want to add kind of like a piece to that is believing that you're worth it. I feel like a lot of people, like myself even, really struggled with that feeling of I deserve this. I deserve to have wealth. I deserve to be a property owner. I deserve to own land. I deserve to be wealthy, because a lot of times we're in our environment. We're going day by day. We're trying to make ends meet, and that's like a long-term vision. And what I like to kind of compare financial needs to is really like the Maslow hierarchy of needs.
Oh my God,
you got the
yes.
psychological safety. You need the psychological needs, the safety needs, love, belonging, self-esteem, and self-actualization. And I feel like for a lot of, like, especially youth and the community members, it's McDonald's, it's go intern for free.
Yeah.
And we're not getting those psychological needs out front. And, it's really believing as well that you can get it.
Right.
And that you're deserving of the information. The information's free.
It sure is.
It is free. Just to add that tidbit.
Yes.
I love that. That goes back to the habits that your family taught you, really. That D word is huge. Ariel, so when people are buying a home, one of the main things is credit score. Is the credit. So what are some ways that people can improve their credit score?
Okay, so I'd say the easiest way, but the longest way is to not touch it. Every 7 years, your credit score renews. By every 7 years, I mean, if you get something on your credit that isn't positive, 7 years after it gets there, it will drop off.
Okay.
That's the long haul.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if you did what I did and you came out of college and just swipe because you didn't come from financial literacy and therefore you wasn't thinking like, oh, I'm gonna have to pay all this back. You can wait it out the 7 years. Some other ways, and the faster way is, if you're willing to take the chance, you can reach out to the creditors and you can make deals with them.
You sure can. That's right.
You can make
a lot of
deals
people
with
don't
them.
know that they have that option.
And they will make deals with you. Like if you're over here and you haven't, you went and got a Capital One card, you charged it up $750, right? And you haven't paid on it in 3 years. They don't expect you to pay on it now. They don't think that's going to change. But if you call them and you're like, I'll give you $400 for a pay to delete. And what you need that in writing. You need an email sent to you. You need a letter sent to you. You need them to put in writing that if you pay the $400, that they will delete it from your credit score.
That's right.
You can get things removed. The other way is today, in the world that we are in, there are a lot of new apps and new ways to, like, I don't want to say manipulate, but to play the credit system a little.
Yeah, it's a game, man.
It is.
The credit is a game.
So there's an extra card. Extra card is a card that literally allows you, you pay them a fee of either $8 a month or $12 a month if you want, basically points like you would have on a credit card. Like you can rack up points with an extra card. You get 5 points for every dollar you spend, and they like to use language to confuse people. You get 5 points for every dollar you spend, but the 5 points equals 1 cent. So instead of saying for every dollar you spend, you get a cent, they just add that 5 points in to, like, confuse people. But 5 points for every dollar. $1 equals 1 cent back. But an extra card basically allows you to swipe an additional debit card that's directly connected to your bank account. And what it will do is it will take your daily purchases based on what the balance is in your bank account in the beginning of the day, and it will apply that as if you paid for it with a credit card. And then it will report to the credit bureau as if you had, at the end of the month, as if you had a credit line for all of those purchases. So if you're out here swiping $5,000 a month, get you an extra card.
Okay.
Self-lender is similar, but self-lender requires you to have more liquid. Like self-lender is another app that will allow you to basically buy a credit line. So but you get all your money back. So you choose a goal, you start depositing money into that goal. Once you reach that goal, it becomes a credit line, and then you can now use that cash as credit.
I see.
And you pay it back, having the threshold of what you started with the entire time. Both of these things will allow you to improve your credit. Those are probably like the three biggest ways to improve your credit, to either come to an agreement. You can also, I know that like a lot of people don't suggest it, but you could also use a credit repair company. Like if you have the extra cash,
right.
There is somebody else who will do the work for you,
Right.
who will send out these letters,
Right.
who will do like the extra that so many people are not willing or don't have the time or feel as though they're not confident enough.
Right.
Because like I feel like that's the biggest thing. I feel like some people have the time and some people are willing, but the confidence is lacking, and therefore they're not willing to like send a letter because God forbid it doesn't say the right things.
Right.
And then there are also a lot of other Black people, Black women in particular that I know, but I'm sure there are a ton of Black men out there who do it too, who will sell you the letters like for $40, and you just have to put in your information and then send
plug
them
it
out.
in.
Plug and play.
Wow.
So those are probably like the biggest ways in which you can like improve your credit that I know of, and like time and like better habits, like really is what it comes down. So money is all about habits.
Yeah.
That's like really at the end of the day what it really boils down to. Like you can say that we were all screwed, for lack of better words, like in the economical and capitalistic world. But habits are everything.
Yes, they are.
Like we as a culture tend to feed our sad feelings with physical, materialistic things. Like, oh, I had a really bad day at work today. It's okay. I'm gonna stop at TJ Maxx.
Right.
And like that habit snowballs.
That's right.
Like out of control. So like the habit is finding ways to have conversations with yourself and finding ways to heal yourself within that don't include going and spending money. Another really big thing that I never thought of that like will improve your credit score on the long term based on habits that I actually just learned at Kurt's event is relationships are not meant to just be for fun. There needs to be intention. Like you're spending money and time with a human, it shouldn't be frivolous.
Period.
We tend to do that too. We tend to like, oh my God, I love this boy. I'm gonna go buy him a new pair of J's. Them J's cost $310, girl. Do you know how many hours you worked for $310?
Right.
And like,
or how much crypto you could have bought?
Yeah, dead ass. Crypto the wave. I don't know enough about it, but I definitely know a ton of people who have gotten rich off crypto. So definitely put your efforts in figuring that out, as well as NFTs. I got a friend right now who's making $6,000-$7,000 a day off NFTs. If anybody knows anything about that, holla at me after the show.
Sabri, quick. 3 ways anybody can improve that credit score. 3 easy ways.
Sorry, guys. I'm trying to do a message real quick that wasn't so discreet. Oops.
No, 3 ways.
So 3 ways. So the way I did it, I didn't have no credit. Like I grew up with the mindset you don't touch credit, right? You don't owe nobody nothing.
Right.
You never take money from other people. So learning about credit, I was just like, I'm not doing that. I'm not touching that.
Right.
I don't want to owe nobody. And then starting to getting different rooms and building relationship with different people, I started to learn other things. And so I was at Citizens at first, and then I went to Metro Credit Union through word of mouth. Credit unions are amazing because it's not a regular bank. They have CRAs, which is Community Reinvestment Act. So they have to put their investments and money into the communities that they're serving. And you as a banker there, you're a member of that community. So build like security, what is it? Security cards?
Secured credit cards.
Secured credit cards. That's how I started. And it was really easy. Like, I know people say credit, use it to leverage, but you really need to be careful because you need to afford it. You still have to pay it back.
You still got to pay that back,
You
period.
still have to pay it back. So I'd say secured credit cards, definitely if you're trying to build it. And self as well. I put my wifey on that and my brother, and their credits are pretty smooth for where they're at in their life and how they started. Credit.
Secure card,
secure card,
the self card.
self card.
Last one. One more. An easy way.
Easy way. Just make sure you can afford it, man. Really.
Affordability.
And be able to afford it. And just make your payments on time. And not on the payment day, but on before the statement date.
Yes.
And
Yes. Stress.
keep
Definitely
on the-
stress
so
that.
the difference
People don't
between-
know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the difference between paying on the due date and paying on when the statement comes out?
So when the statement comes out, that means that the credit bureaus already have the information for that certain credit line, right? So they already have that. Let's say you have a 300 balance. On the statement date, if that balance is still 300, the credit bureau will put that on your credit report. And now on the due date, it's
Which
already
is
there.
after the statement date,
Which is
y'all.
after the statement date, they already have that. But if you pay it off $300 before that statement date, you're not gonna do anything because technically the credit bureaus is saying that you already paid.
Right.
So that's really the key to paying before the statement date as opposed to the due date. And then paying, like, just being trustworthy. Just pay it if you can. Honestly, just pay it if you can. Don't use it if you know you can't afford it.
Right.
But the good thing about credit, you could build it back up.
Right. All right, y'all. There we have it. We're going to take a small little break. And when we get back, we're going to talk about, is it better to rent or own a home in today's market? So, Ariel, you'll be up first. All right. Let's get some water. Rehydrate.